Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host Mark Guido. And e-bikes are extremely popular with RVers. However, it can sometimes be a challenge to transport a bulky, heavy e-bike, especially with a towable RV. We're going to share with you our solution to that problem on this episode of Grand Adventure. So stay tuned. This episode of Grand Adventure is sponsored by etrailer.com, where you'll find thousands of products for RVing, towing, camping, outdoor recreation, vehicles, boating, and more. Use the link down below in the video description to shop eTrailer with Grand Adventure. Now, you can see back here, our e-bike is not one of those smaller foldable RV-friendly e-bikes. It's a large, full-frame, 26-inch wheel mountain bike style e-bike. So it's big, it's bulky, and it's heavy. We were trying to figure out how we were going to transport our e-bike throughout our 2025 travel season. So we worked with our channel sponsor, etrailer, to come up with the right solution. And we found exactly the rack that we were looking for from Saris. We had several criteria that were important to us. One is it had to have a wheel hold rather than a frame hold, because our frame is a step-through frame, so you don't have the top tube to be able to grab onto. It also had to have a wheel tray wide enough for our 4-inch wide tires. It had to, of course, be capable of handling the weight of our e-bike, which weighs nearly 70 pounds. And it also had to be expandable, for a time when we may add a second e-bike for Mrs. Grand Adventure. Finally, it had to have a ramp, so that way we can wheel the bike up onto the ramp rather than lift that heavy bike onto the rack. And the MHS Duo from Saris, available through eTrailer, had everything that we were looking for. And it's something of a rarity to find a bike rack that checks all of those boxes. So we were very pleased to find the Saris. The Saris MHS Duo hitch rack is a modular system. But what do we mean by modular? This Saris system can be purchased as a package, or individual components may also be purchased separately. We can add a second bike tray later if Mrs. GA decides she wants an e-bike too. With an available longer shank, you can carry up to 4 bikes, or even bikes in combination with a cargo basket available for the Saris MHS Duo system. The first thing we're unpackaging is the shank of the Saris MHS Duo system. This thing is very heavy duty and entirely constructed of heavy steel. This shank is adaptable to fit either 2-inch or 1¼ hitches right out of the box. Next, we'll open the packaging of the bike tray. Now laid out on our picnic table, this is the entire system. Let's start putting this whole thing together. I don't know if you can see this, but there goes my idea for a snack. For starters, we're going to mount the shank in our new North Hitch Eco Hitch from Torque Lift, also available from eTrailer. If you missed that episode and would like to learn more about this slick, stealth front hitch option, we'll put a link right here on the screen to our episode 403. The shank can be easily tilted down to access your vehicle, even with the bike on it, or tilted up out of the way when not in use. The rack includes a locking hitch pin, key to the bike lock cable that we'll show you shortly. Now it's time to start assembling the bike tray. This large aluminum clamp is what attaches the bike tray, or other MHS Duo accessories, to the hitch shank. we're now fitting the clasp pin into the clamp. With that assembled, the bike tray then clamps right to the shank. A special security key ensures that anyone with an Allen wrench can't remove your bike tray and walk off with it. The MHS Duo is rated to handle bikes and e-bikes that weigh up to 80 pounds. Now we'll add the rear wheel strap, which slides along a track in the bottom of the tray to accommodate bikes of various wheelbase lengths, up to 53 inches. The front wheel block that we're installing here keeps your bike from moving forward or aft along the wheel tray. That tray is designed to fit bike tires as wide as 5 inches. This little back plate covers the matching holes at the tray's opposite end and reminds the user which end gets the bike's rear wheel. The rack includes a lock core for a cable to secure the bike to the rack. This core matches the lock for the hitch pin, such that one key opens both locks. Here we'll demonstrate the rack's folding ability with the bike tray installed, either down to provide vehicle access or up to stow out of the way. One final optional accessory we had to install is an adapter to accommodate our bike's rear fender. The fender would interfere with the rack's ability to clamp down on the rear wheel, so this accessory grabs the wheel beneath the fender. That completes our assembly, and we'll get our e-bike up onto the Saris MHS Duo right after we take a brief ad break to pay the bills. So stay tuned. Here's the collapsible bike ramp. Once we extend this ramp, we can slip it onto the end of the bike tray to wheel our heavy e-bike onto the rack without having to lift it. Finally, it's time to load our bike onto the rack. Here you can see how the front wheel arm securely holds onto the bike. And here's the rear wheel arm grabbing our bike beneath the rear fender with the optional fender accessory adapter. Everything is mounted up and ready to go. However, there are a couple of potential issues with carrying our bike on a front hitch, which our viewers should be aware of. For one thing, a full-size bike like ours extends well above the hood line, something that might annoy some drivers by partially obstructing the driver's view of the road ahead. For another, the bike would potentially interfere with our headlights when driving at night. Fortunately, we seldom tow at night, but it's something that needs due consideration. So, I also need to contemplate carrying our bike on the rear of the trailer, where our torque lift lock and load, also available from etrailer, currently transports our generator. We're going to set the bike up on our trailer's rear hitch and try it out. However, I caution that the Saris MHS Duo is not rated for use on the rear of a trailer. That's because thanks to the distance between the trailer axles and the rear hitch, the rack sits at the end of a longer lever and is therefore subject to bigger bumps and more movement. However, our trailer's hitch is a frame-mounted Class 3 hitch, and the Saris rack itself seems to us to be very, very solid. I'm not particularly concerned about using this rack on the back of the trailer, but users need to be aware that the Saris MHS Duo is not rated for use on the rear of a trailer. Moving the bike rack to the rear of the trailer will allow us to move our torque lift lock and load to our front hitch, where the generator will not interfere with either the driver's field of view or the function of our truck's headlights. I'm not 100% sure which configuration we'll use this season, or even if we won't switch from one configuration to the other, depending on when and where we're towing. To start this season, we'll play it by ear and decide which configuration we prefer. If you'd like to check out the Saris MHS Duo for yourself, we'll put a link right down below in the video description. And for those of you watching Grand Adventure on your television, we've got a QR code right here on the screen that you can simply scan with your smartphone. So we hope that you found this brief overview of the Saris MHS Duo bike rack useful to you. If you liked this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you'll find the comments section, where we'd love to hear from you after each and every Grand Adventure, which we premiere every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. But if you're not yet a Grand Adventurer yourself, we're just a couple of short days away from heading out on 7.5 months of exciting RV travel ahead that we're going to bring you along on. So there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a Grand Adventure. So until next Wednesday, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.